And now for a Democrats' take. This morning, several Democrats sent a letter to President Trump calling for the administration to release an unclassified explanation for killing Iran's Qasem Soleimani, as well as its strategy for dealing with Iran going forward. Colorado Congressman Jason Crow, who serves on the House Armed Services Committee, was one of them. He's a former Army Ranger who served in both Iraq and in Afghanistan. Congressman Crow, thank you very much for joining us again. How convinced are you? The first thing I want to ask is that hostilities have ended between the United States and Iran. The president today was talking peace, but how certain are you that there won't be another attack of some kind?
Good evening, Judy. Good to be with you again. I'm not certain of that. You know, if one thing is clear, I think we can expect Iran to continue its regional aggression, continue to do what it's done for decades, and that is use proxy forces, use unconventional forces to try to destabilize the region. You know, their overarching goal here is to remove the United States from Iraq and from the region, because they know if they do that, that they can be the hegemonic force in the region, because there's nobody else who can actually keep them in check.
We just heard Congressman Gallagher say he is absolutely convinced that the administration was justified in targeting and killing General Soleimani. He also said that he didn't think the standard had to be that there was an imminent threat. How do you see that?
Well, I haven't seen anything that absolutely justifies the killing of General Soleimani. To be very clear, General Soleimani was a very bad actor. You know, I was in Iraq in 2003 as we started to see the improvised explosives and the roadside bombs increase in lethality as a result of Iranian intervention. So it's very clear that he was a danger. But what's unclear to me is the justification this administration is relying on for the strike. Half of the administration is relying on the imminent standard, which under Article 2, the president has the authority to defend the United States against imminent threats. The other half of the administration is coming out and saying they're relying on the 2002 AUMF. Those are two different authorizations, two different sources of authority. The administration deserves to give us a clear answer about which one they're relying on. But overall, you know, we have not received the answers that we needed. I led a letter of over 40 of my colleagues in the House that we sent to the president earlier this morning in advance of the briefing, where we outlined 8 questions that we deserve and the American people deserve to have answered about our involvement in the region. And those questions have not been answered.
I want to ask you about something the president said in his remarks today, and that is he contends that Iran went on what he called a terror spree with the money that it received under the nuclear deal that it signed with the United States and other countries. How do you see that?
I haven't seen any intelligence and any facts whatsoever that corroborate that. That appears to be made out of whole cloth. It's a very dangerous allegation to try to draw connections between those things. You know, Iran has been a dangerous and aggressive actor in the region for decades. Long before the United States was involved in Iraq, and in the almost 20 years that we have been involved in Iraq. They do need to be checked, but the president's attempt to try to put this on prior administrations and draw connections between things that don't have any factual connection is dangerous, and it actually makes it much harder for us here in Congress to have a legitimate policy debate about the issue.
What is Congress' role in all of this? I just asked Congressman Gallagher about the resolution that Speaker Pelosi says she's going to be introducing and having the House vote on tomorrow, war powers with regard to having limits on what the president can do without congressional approval in taking military action against Iraq. His comment was that it's not at all clear that Congress has any role, should have any role at this time.
Well, I would vehemently disagree with that. I mean, the founders vested in the United States Congress the authority to make war and to send our young men and women into harm's way. You know, it's one of our most sacred and solemn responsibilities. It's a responsibility that I take seriously given my background. You know, my military career started as a private, and I will never forget, being Private Crow in boots and a uniform, being asked to do things, and I later became an infantry officer working on the ground in Afghanistan and Iraq, and seeing firsthand the consequences of the decisions made in this town on young men and women throughout our country. You know, the responsibility to care for our sons and daughters and to make sure that we are having a robust debate about when we send those folks into harm's way is in the United States Congress. And it's a debate that we can only have if we're provided information by the president and have a robust dialogue with him.
And you're saying that isn't the case?
Yeah, that is not happening right now. You know, the president trying to notify us via tweet, having briefings that don't give us all the information that we've asked for, even though we asked for that very clearly in advance. We need to be able to have that discussion. You know, we've been at war for almost 20 years now. And I remember in 2003, when I was a young infantry officer leading paratroopers in the invasion of Iraq and on the streets of Baghdad. You know, I heard the same political argument that some people are making now, that now is not the time to have that discussion, that, you know, we have to have that discussion later. Well, here we are. Thousands of Americans have been killed over the last 20 years. Tens of thousands have been wounded. We have spent over $4 trillion on these wars. The time is now to have that discussion about what is the future of security for America, what is in our national interests, and when are we going to send our young men and women into harm's way.
Congressman Jason Crow of Colorado, thank you very much.
Thank you.